So next up in our MySQL series are the date and time functions. So how do you work with dates and times? How do you format them? How do you get the bits and pieces that you want out of dates and times? How do you calculate differences between them? So I have a SQL file here up on CodeGist. I'll put the link in the description for you. You can download this. These are the queries that I'm going to go through, and we're going to talk about this and look a little bit at the documentation as well. So you can download the zip, expand it, and then open up the SQL file in any text editor. And I'm just going to be working from the SQL tab inside of my database. Now we can run this however you want. Remember that 2 hyphens and a space, that is the signal that the current line is commented out. So I'm going to be commenting and uncommenting these as we go through them, so I only get one result at a time. All right, now up at the top, these comments. This is to explain the difference between the different types of dates. So a date time includes, as the name implies, a date and a time. The time can have up to 6 decimal places of precision for the milliseconds and microseconds that are part of the seconds in the time. So I've got 2 examples of those. I'll use those in these queries down below. There's 2 lines here that are dates, and as the name implies, it's just the date, the year, month, and day. Time is just the time portion of a date time, and then timestamp, this is the number of seconds. So remember, JavaScript uses milliseconds, MySQL uses seconds for the timestamps, and it's since January 1st, 1970 at midnight. That is the start of the epoch, and that is where everything is measured from that point. This is the number of seconds. When I ran the little bit of code to get the current timestamp a short while ago, that was the timestamp. So let's look at some timestamp methods to start with. If you want to find out what time it is right now, there's a few different methods that we can use. So Unix timestamp, I've got that one in here twice. You can optionally provide a current time. If you want to find out the timestamp for this specific time, it'll give it to you. Unix timestamp without an argument will provide you the current timestamp for the number of seconds. There's not going to be any millisecond or microsecond portion of it. It'll just be up to whatever the current seconds are. Now we'll get you the Unix timestamp, but it will display it as a date time. And then sysdate will do the same thing as Unix timestamp. The difference between the two of them is that with a Unix timestamp, it runs one time at the beginning of your query. So if I'm running a whole bunch of SQL statements, let's say I'm running a store procedure, Unix timestamp will run one time, give me the value, and then that will be used throughout. If I want to, or if I need to, for some reason, find out the exact seconds, milliseconds, microseconds at every point in my query, if I want to calculate the difference between them, then sysdate will allow me to do that to a level of precision. So you can optionally add in here how many decimal places that you want. All right, so let's run that query, and we'll see down here what we get. So there it is, Unix timestamp with the microseconds added on there, and that was because it was provided in here. If I run it for just current, it's just the number of seconds. Now, it does the same thing as Unix timestamp, it's just this is being displayed 2 different ways. One as a timestamp, one as a date. And then sysdate, same as now, but we're getting those 6 decimal places at the end here. Okay, that's timestamps. Now working with dates. We've got several functions here. There's add date, subdate, and date diff. All 3 of these work in a similar fashion. Add date will let you add some amount of time. So there's a keyword interval that you have to put in here, then the number, and then after that, we're going to say the day, minute, hour, second, whatever it is, the unit that you want to add with this number to that date. Subdate does the reverse. It subtracts it from this date. Date diff will calculate the difference between these. And the order does make a difference here. I've got the more recent before the older date, and then I've done it the opposite way here. So when we run this, you'll see that the first one provides us, here we go, First one provides us with the positive number, the second one with the negative number. So that's the date diff. Calculate the number of days between them. Here's the subtract date. So if we take 3 days away from April 1st, it goes back to March 29th. And then the add, the result goes from April 1st to April 4th. So that's add date. And there is an add time, sub time, and time diff as well, if you want to use those. Okay, our next one, timestamp diff. This is to calculate the difference between two times. Now, with this one, you can provide 2 dates, 2 times, 2 date times. As long as the two are the same, then this is going to work. First of all, you provide, notice there's no quotation marks around this. We provide the unit that we want to measure the difference between. So between these two, what's the difference in months? Or what's the difference in minutes between these two? So we'll run that. And timestamp diff. There we go. So the difference between these two, April 1st and February 1st, is going to be -2. And that's difference in months. With minutes between these two, these are roughly a year apart. This is how many we get, how many minutes. 524,000 minutes is the difference between the two of them. And again, the order makes a difference if you put the newer or the older one first. All right, that's timestamp diff, very useful. Make time, if you've got hours, minutes, and seconds. If you've got the 3 numbers separate coming to you from some location, this is great for formatting. If you want to make sure something is formatted as a proper time, like this, there the 14, 22, and 1 will come out like this. So it's a great way to format things quickly with time. Last day, you want to find out what the last day of any month is. So you want to figure out, okay, does this month have 31 days or 28 or 29, depending on leap years? Well, last day is going to do that for you. So last day, if we look at February 3rd, it's going to come back and say, all right, in 2019, on February, the 28th is the last day of the month. We've got get format. Get format allows us to find out, okay, what is the string? Because there is a date format function, which is our next one. I'll run these two together. Date format, you can provide a date or a date time to this, and it is going to, or a time, and you can format this using this format string. Now, if we look in the documentation, I think I've got that up here, yeah. So in the date format, these formats, these are the specifiers for all the different bits and pieces that you can use for all the different parts of date and time. So every one of these, percentage and then a letter, will represent a different piece. And then you can assemble all these. Anything that is not one of these identifiers, anything that does not start with a percentage sign, will just be put in there as text. So you can see here, I've got hyphens between the year, the month, and the day, and colons between the hours, minutes, and seconds. So we're going to use this formatting on this. And it's going to return for us right here. So this is the formatted version of this string right here, this date time string. Now, the other method, get format, if you want to have a string with all the formatting information, we can say, I want date time, or I want time, or I want date. So one of those 3 keywords, no quotation marks around them, and then the format. Do you want the USA, the European, the ISO, or there's also internal, which will take your current system formatting in there, or JIS. So those are the 5 different strings that we can use as the second part, and it will provide the appropriate string so that you get the formatting in that manner. All right, and that's the end of it. Now, this is not an exhaustive list of all of the different methods that are available to us with dates and times in MySQL. I will provide a list of links. So the first one being this page right here, which is the date and time functions. It's an exhaustive list of all the ones that are available to you. You can see there's quite a few more than what I went through. These are all the different units. So when you're doing the date add and date sub to calculate the difference between the two of them, or adding and subtracting from dates and times. These are the different units that you can use for that function. And then the last one was the formatting strings. So I'm going to provide all three of these links to you, as well as the link for the SQL file, so you've got these queries that you can start to play with. And I'll also provide a link to the rest of the MySQL playlist. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching.